When your organization has different departments, you might find it easier to manage if you divide your network into smaller segments instead of having one giant one. But how can you do this when you only have one network ID? The answer is with a process called subnetting. We'll take a look at subnet masks and go through a couple of examples to help you see how it works. Let's get started. To keep things simple, we'll start with a small Class C private network with a network ID of 192.168.5.0 and a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. In this example, our goal is to create subnetworks that we can use for 4 groups: the accounting department, the management department, the human resources department, and the sales department. Since we only have one pool of IP addresses represented by this network ID, we need to borrow some bits from the 8 bits on the host portion and add that to our network ID. To see how this works, let's look at it using binary numbers. Our network ID in binary looks like this, 32 bits total. Our subnet mask consists of 24 ones, which represent the network ID, and 8 zeros, which represent the host ID. To subnet our network, we have to borrow some bits from the host portion and put them on the network ID. To determine how many bits we need to borrow, we use powers of 2. For example, if we borrow 1 bit, we calculate 2 to the power of 1, which equals 2. This means we could create 2 subnets. If we borrow 2 bits, we find that 2 to the power of 2 equals 4, so we get 4 subnets. Borrowing 3 bits would get us 8 subnets, and so on. Since we only need 4, all we need to borrow is 2 bits. This now gives us 26 bits in our network ID and leaves us 6 bits to use for host IP addresses. So how do we get 4 different subnets by borrowing 2 bits? It's because each variation of the 2 bits we borrow from the 4th octet allows us to create 4 new network IDs, or subnets. Let's look a little closer. The first 3 octets won't change in our subnet mask or for our network ID, but the 2 bits we borrowed from the 4th octet gives us several possibilities. The first is to use 2 zeros, which gives us a network ID of 192.168.5.0. Next, we have the option of using a 0 and a 1, which gives us a network ID of 192.168.5.64. Remember that the reason it's 64 is because the decimal value of the 7th bit from the right is 64. The third possible subnet uses a 1 and a 0 with a network ID of 192.168.5.128. And the 4th subnet uses 2 ones with a network ID of 192.168.5.192. As you've already seen in this example, the 4th octet is the one where the host ID begins. This is known as the interesting octet. If we borrowed the bits from the 3rd octet, that octet would be known as the interesting octet, since the host ID begins with it. One thing to understand about subnets is that with each bit you borrow, there are fewer hosts available for each subsequent subnet. To determine the number of hosts per network, we use the formula of 2 to the power of y minus 2, where y is the number of bits in the host ID. On our network, we have 6 bits in the host ID, so 2 to the power of 6 is 64, and minus 2 gives us 62 available host IP addresses in each of the 4 subnets. The reason you have to subtract 2 is because the first IP address is always used to identify the network ID, and the last IP is always used as the broadcast address for that subnet. Let's see how these calculations work for our network and its subnets. In our first subnet, our network address was 192.168.5.0. This gives us a host IP range of 192.168.5.1 through 192.168.5.62, with a broadcast address of 192.168.5.63. Each subnet follows this same pattern. Just always remember that the first subnet network address ends in 0 instead of 1. To see this in binary, the host portion in green starts as all zeros. This will always be reserved to represent the network ID. In this example, that's 192.168.5.0. To find out the first usable IP address in the subnet, use all zeros with a 1 at the end. This would be 192.168.5.1. Then, to find the last usable IP, use all ones with a 0 at the end. This would be 192.168.5.62. That leaves all ones to represent the broadcast address, in this case, 192.168.5.63. This same pattern continues as the network ID increments. The next network starts at 192.168.5.64 is the ID, .65 for the first usable IP, .126 is the last, and then .127 is the broadcast address. When you start borrowing bits, it's almost impossible to determine what the subnet mask is just by looking at the first octet in the address. It's important to understand how to read and use what's called a classless interdomain routing notation, or CIDR notation. Let's look at a few examples of using CIDR notation. But first, remember that each decimal value of 255 in a subnet mask is 8 ones in binary. To represent the default Class A IP address ranges using CIDR, the subnet mask could be represented using a /8, since there's only 8 ones. For a Class B address, the CIDR would be /16, and for a Class C, it would be /24. When you've borrowed some bits from an octet, the CIDR process is still the same. For example, earlier we borrowed the first 2 bits of the last octet, so 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 2 equals a CIDR of /26. Since our network address was 192.168.5.0 and we borrowed 2 bits, we can write the network ID and subnet mask by using a /26 at the end. A network professional can simply look at this CIDR notation and know that there will be 4 subnets, each with 62 usable IP addresses. Okay, to recap what we've learned so far, remember that to determine the number of subnets you can create, use the formula 2 to the power of the number of borrowed bits. So for example, if we borrow 3 bits, 2 to the power of 3 equals 8, so we'd be able to create 8 subnets. To determine the number of hosts per subnet, you use the formula of 2 to the power of the number of bits in the host ID minus 2. So if we have 5 bits in the host ID, 2 to the power of 5 equals 32, and 32 minus 2 would give us 30 possible host IPs per subnet. Let's look at another example. This time, let's use a Class B network. In this example, the network ID is 172.16.0.0/16, and we need to create at least 24 subnets. Our first step is to figure out how many bits we need to borrow. If we borrow 4 bits, that gives us 2 to the power of 4, which equals 16 subnets. That's not enough, so let's try 5. With 5 bits, we see that we can have 32 subnets, which does meet our requirement. Notice that with the 5 bits being borrowed, our CIDR notation now changes to /21 because we added the 5 bits we borrowed to the 16 bits already being used. Let's now see how many hosts we can have. Since we borrowed 5 bits, that leaves us with 11 bits to work with. Using our formula of 2 to the power of 11 minus 2, we see that we have the possibility of assigning 2,046 host IPs per subnet. So ultimately, with the /21 CIDR notation, we will have 32 subnets, with each of them having up to 2,046 usable IP addresses.